Hello, today we are taking a look at Pocketbook Adventures. I'll start by saying that this is just a prototype, so between now and the final product, rules or components might change. So this is a solo game designed by Grumpy Spider Games, where everything you need to play the game is within this book, including rules, the scenarios, and how you measure your success in those scenarios. You will, however, have to provide your own puzzle, alright? So you can see here the first few pages are the rules, and then eventually you will get to the actual scenarios where you'll play through the game. Before we go into how a scenario works, I think it's very important to talk about the aim system. So let's take a look at the aim system. The aim system is your randomizing factor for the game. Whenever you need to randomize something, be it monster damage or the amount of coins you find in a chest, you will use something like this. So the way this works is you're going to place your pencil on the starting point, raise your hand so that it doesn't touch any surface, and then look away or close your eyes and aim for the center of the target. If you miss completely the target, you just try again unless there's a penalty. If you hit the target, be it the bullseye or the two outer rings, you will resolve. As usual, the better you are at aiming for the center, the better. Alright, so now that we've seen the aim system, let's take a look at what else the book has to offer. We can see here that I already saved our first region. So this is a map, this is an area, this is the puzzle that you are solving, alright? But these areas are split into regions. And here the first region is quite free in terms of movement. It's kind of a learning region, but they all work similar in terms of this page. What we have on top is the goals. The first goal is to kill the most baddies / monsters / enemies, alright? The second goal is to take the least amount of damage possible, so fighting monsters and not taking too much damage. The last is the movement, the number of stops that you do. You want to have the least amount of stops because this means you were very effective or efficient at solving the puzzle that was given to you. Then we have here region-specific rules. So the movement, so like I said, in this first scenario, or this first region actually, the movement is very free. You can choose to move 1 to 4 spaces in any direction. You cannot turn, but you can stop and then turn and then continue moving. This will just increase the number of stops that you do. So up to 4 movement. And then it talks about the orc hunting traps, where you'll take damage if you run into them. Here you can see my solution to some of these levels, where I moved around, killed some monsters, and collected some coins. I will show an example area quite soon. Alright? So, let's actually go right away to an area that I can show to you so that we can solve it together. Here we have an area that we haven't solved yet. It's area 22 in the ice fields region. The first thing we need to do is check the rules for this region, alright? So we are going to go here. Again, we have the performance tracker and we have the region rules. You can see here that the movement is already different. You choose any cardinal direction and you move in a straight line until you hit terrain or a live monster. So you cannot choose to stop in the middle, alright? This makes the puzzle of solving the movement to where you want to go to collect the most coins and health and items harder. And then you have treasure chests, is just a reminder. I'll talk about them in a little bit. So let's take a look at the area in itself. The first thing I'm going to talk about is this right side. Here is where you're going to be playing. You will start where the adventure icon is, and the game ends when you exit the area in this arrow. Along the way, you're going to fight some monsters, as you can see here. You're going to collect some coins, some hearts, and maybe even a treasure chest, although you need the key for that. Here, you'll track your your performance. How do you read this? So you have here baddies 8, 9, 10. You will circle every star that has a number that's lower than the number of monsters you defeated. So if you defeated 9 monsters, you're going to circle this one and that one. But if you did really well and defeated 10, or maybe more sometimes, you're going to circle all of them, so you got 3 stars for the baddie record. Here is damage taken. You're going to take damage from fighting these monsters. You will circle every star that has a number higher than the total damage you took. So if you took only 4 damage, that's great, you get all of them. But if you took 14 damage, you're only going to get 1 star. Or if you took 16, you're not going to get any stars. And here is the number of stops. Because like we saw in the rules, you're going to have to move and stop when you hit a wall or a monster. The more stops you do, the lower your score is going to be. You can see that everything below 40 is gonna get you 3 stars, but if you go over those numbers, you will basically have a worse performance. So this is the right side of the board. Let's talk about the left side. The first thing we are gonna do is fill our adventurous stats. So in this little box, you'll write your maximum HP. This comes from the previous levels. We are gonna fake it at a 30, and then in the first box, you're gonna write your current XP. So if in the last level you took 4 damage, let's say you have 26, so you're 4 away from your maximum. Then you have gold. Let's give us 40 gold. Again, this would go stay between levels. You have status. Let's say we have no status. Normally those are bad things, of course. And you have items. Let's say we have a remedy. You can see here what the remedy does. And then we have a weapon. Let's say we have a healing staff, which is an item I really liked. So what the healing staff does is that before you even start the map, you're gonna write a plus on up to 3 hearts. So for example, this one, that one, and that one. So if you collect those hearts, instead of gaining only 1 HP, which is what the hearts do, you're gonna get plus 2 HP. All right? Then here we have the monsters. Each column is a different monster. So you have here the name, the starting bar for the aim system, the monster illustration, so you can see this one corresponds to this one corresponds to this one. You have their special ability, which I'll explain in a second. You have here the reference, and you have the target. This is where the aim system comes into play. So let's look at the features in the map. You have hearts, which will either gain you 1 HP or 2 if they have the plus that I drew. The coins will get you 1 coins. Monsters you'll have to fight. This is an item, it's a remedy. If you go over it or stop in there, you're gonna collect it. And then you have the treasure chest and the key. In order to open the treasure chest, you first have to get to the key. And to get to the key, you can see here, you're gonna have to fight this werewolf. As soon as you have the key, you're gonna have to go to the treasure chest. Although every other feature, you collect it by running over them, the treasure chest, you need to stop there. So because of our movement, we know that we cannot do something like this. Go here and stop. Because you need to go in the direction you chose until you hit a wall or until you hit the monster. So you're gonna have to do something like be here, go up to stop on this wall, go left to stop on this wall, and then go down to stop on this wall. And you can see now why the movement matters. Because in the previous region, the grasslands, you could choose to move 1 or 4 steps and then stop. That gives you a lot of flexibility. But this one already forces you to look at the map and find a way to stop exactly where you want. And sometimes that might mean you need to use a monster to force you to stop, all right? So let's start the level. We start here, and let's say that the first thing we want to do is to fight this monster. There are 2 ways of fighting a monster. Either you run into them, or you stop next to them. Here it will be the same. You're gonna go down, and you cannot enter a space with a monster until it is defeated. So you enter this space, and you trigger the fight with the monster. It's a more. To fight the monsters, it works all in the same way. You can see that there's a little circle here in this bar. You're gonna have to aim from the circle in the bar to the target over here. If you hit the center, that's 0 damage taken. If you hit the middle one, it's 1. If you hit the outer one, it's 2. Let's pretend we hit here the middle one, but in the dark area. So you take 1 damage right away. And then, because you hit the dark areas, and you can see that all these monsters have dark areas, you're going to trigger their special ability. And the special ability of the more is Bloodsuck. If your HP is greater than 5, which it is, after normal damage, take 5 extra damage. So not only did we take 1, we took a total of 6 damage from this attack, which is already more than half of our goal over here, so we need to watch out. You always defeat the monster, so we mark it as defeated. However, what you're trying to do with this aim system is check how much damage you take from that fight. So we were forced to stop here because of the monster, and we want to keep going. So we'll go down, stop over the monster. I draw little circles in my stops because I find that it makes it easier to count here at the end of the game. Then we would move left. Now we would have to go up, and now we would fight this monster again. We would click there, let's aim, say we took 0 damage, fantastic, we killed already 2 monsters. And now we have multiple choices. Either we go up, and then go left, or you go left now, go right. One thing we could do, go right to catch this coin, make 41, and now we could go left entirely, fight this monster, and so on. Basically, you're doing this challenge over here. What you need to be sure to do, if you want to collect the treasure, which I also see kind of a goal. It's not a goal for each level, but it's a good way to make coins, and it makes the puzzle more fun. So you're gonna want to come here and somehow fight this werewolf, and then once you're here, collect the coin, and then come out, come up, somehow, things like this. And then you're gonna have to stop on the treasure if you have the key. You still don't have to, again, it's optional, but that's what you want to do. Once you hit the treasure or stop there, you are gonna aim from there to this target, okay? If you hit the bullseye, perfectly, that's 10 coins that you get, that's a lot of coins. Otherwise, for each outer ring that you go through, it's minus 2 points. So if you hit here, it's 8, if you hit here, it's 6, 4, 2, or nothing, all right? So if I had hit bullseye, I would have made 51 points, all right? Whenever you want, you can now choose to leave the level. The thing is, if we were to leave now, we could see that we fought like 1, 2, 3 monsters. That's not a lot. You wouldn't even get a single star in the monsters fighting. So what you're trying to do in each level is be efficient in fighting the monsters, trying to aim correctly so that you take the least amount of damage possible, and make few stops. Once you're ready to leave, you just cross over that, all right? This would be an area of Pocketbook Adventures. You're gonna play some multiple areas. You can see here, still in the same region, different monsters, still a remedy, things like this. You're gonna play over multiple of these regions. Each time you finish a region, you score based on these 3 goals, and then you proceed. Once you're done with the with the book, you're gonna see here that you have a way of scoring. What is your title? You rank your 3 categories, you write your name, and your value in each of the categories. You can even choose to play this in legendary mode, where you'll cross out some stars, so it will be harder for you to make stars, but you'll start with a legendary weapon that makes your game a bit easier, alright? According to here, although this is a prototype, there is no QR code, you could be able to print at home your own version of the book to play again, because once you start writing in this book, you probably don't want to erase everything. So now here we have a bit of a spoilery section. You saw areas, but there are other features in the game. Namely, let's go over here, a town. So towns are where you're gonna find these weapons that you can buy by spending gold. I had a healing staff, but I could choose to switch it to a curing staff that allows me to cure status or weapons that makes me better at fighting or protecting myself. You can also buy items, so you can see that I have a remedy. I still have it here. This is a different item that I chose to shorten the name, but you could buy any or all of this. You could also pay 1 gold to cure status effects, because some status effects, or all status effects actually, stay with you until you cure them somehow. You could pay to heal 1. You could pay as many times as you want. You could see here that I entered this region with 25 out of 27, so I could pay 2 coins to heal. And you can train. Training means you're going to spend X amount of money and choose a target. So you spend 7 to choose this target, or 2 to choose this target, which is smaller and farther away. And you're going to do an aim check, aim at that. If you hit the target anywhere, you're going to increase your maximum HP by 1. So you now have 28 and your current HP by 1. And you can do this as many times as you want, but you cannot forget to pay for it. All right? That's the town. And probably my favorite rooms are the bosses. You can see here that I fought the Orc Warrior. This is actually the first time I died. In this game you never lose. If you die, you simply lose either half your money or all your items and weapons, and you come back. The only thing this is doing is making life harder for you so that you will have a worse score, but you are never eliminated in the game. So here is a completely different map where you're kind of trying to run away from the orc and trying to get him to step on traps so that he takes damage. And then here you can see a different boss, the 1000-year wyvern. Here it's completely different. It's about aiming and it has 2 stages, and there's more things like that. There's more bosses to fight. There's different movement rules, quite different actually. I don't want to get too much into it because I want you to find out about the game and the book by yourself, because part of the fun for me was really going through the levels and discovering, oh, here we have a town now for the first time. Oh, now we have a boss that completely plays differently. The game is quite simple. You saw everything we were doing. There's no way of actually losing the game. It's just about an optimization puzzle. If you like this sort of solo games, this sort of quick, simple games, I think this is really good because you can fit it in your jacket, in your trousers, in your backpack. You can play it anywhere because you don't need even a surface. I've played this in bed, in the sofa, in the beach, in the airplane. You can literally play this game anywhere. The only thing you need is a pencil. So if this concept sounded cool to you, this game is going on Kickstarter soon. Check it out, see if it's something that you might enjoy. And if you do, consider backing. Alright? Thanks for watching. That was Pocketbook Adventures.